Why, hello, everyone. Hello. If you don't know this voice by now, then why are you watching this video on YouTube or the audio form on Apple Podcasts or Amazon Music Podcasts? What is up, guys? It is James, aka Jimmypancakes20, back here to do a new episode of the Jimmypancakes20 show. And this episode is episode 21. This is the final part of our Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood 2010 history videos / podcast. And of course, I am joined by my co-host again. You know her, you love her, my mom, Marcia. So Mom, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
And I wanted to just say this out in front. Marcia and I have been busy getting ready for us to go to Midsummer Scream 2024, which is this weekend, which is July 26th, which is Friday until Sunday, July 28th. So Marcia and I have been running around getting stuff ready, and I know I have 3 more videos that I need to put out, 3 more videos / podcasts, which is this one, which we are doing right now, and then I have 2 other ones, which I'm going to be getting them out before Thursday, the day before we head to Midsummer Scream. So basically, at the end of this video, I'm going to talk about the other 2 videos so you guys understand when those videos are coming out. So I just wanted to let you guys know that's why there's a day or 2 delayed of these videos / podcasts coming out. So, Mom, are you ready to talk about our final thing that we need to talk about for 2010?
Yes, I am.
And Mom, do you want to tell them what we are going to be talking about?
It's the Bill and Ted show.
From 2010. There was only one show this year for 2010, which was the
Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure.
Yep. All right, ladies and gentlemen, sit back, relax, and enjoy episode 21 of the Jimmypancakes20 show, the final part of our Halloween Horror Nights 2010 history video / podcast talking about the Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure show. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure show was, of course, located in the Castle Theater, and at the time, it was still Fear Factor Live at that point. Or they were getting ready to do something new. Wait, no, it was Creature from the Black Lagoon. That show got canceled, and they were getting ready to do the new special effects stage show. That's what it was. So, but when I did the research for this show, it still said it was known as the Fear Factor Live sound stage. So, kind of a little mix up, but, that's what it said. So, you enter the theater, which is the Castle Theater, and you sit down, and of course, the show begins normally, where they will give you what the show is about, that there's half-naked men and women, there's sound effects, there's pyrotechnics, there's loud sounds and stuff, so all that mumbo-jumbo for anyone that has heart conditions or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So, this was again, another thing where the show opened with an open dance number, and it closed with a closing dance number. So, this year's opening dance number, they were making fun of the TV show Glee, which I think was its first season that year in 2010. I don't really remember. But it was the cast of Glee singing and dancing to a song I did not recognize. So, your thoughts on the opening thing. And by the way, Marcia and I just finished watching the Bill and Ted show, so it's fresh in our mind before we started recording this episode.
My thoughts is I'd never seen the television show Glee, so I really didn't know what it was all about. But then watching the Bill and Ted, the opening scene, I get what they're doing for the reference for Glee. Cheerleaders, coach, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good dance number.
I enjoyed it myself, too. So, and the opening dance number never changed for that year. It was always the same opening dance number. Then you're introduced to one of the main villains. So, in this show, there was two villains. There was a movie/TV show producer, and then there was the main villain who was either the coach or the principal of the school where Glee began, and I think her name was Sarah Manor or something. As I said, I never watched.
Her first name was Sarah, I know that.
But I didn't get the last name. So yeah. And so she makes a couple of jokes that I didn't get the reference to. And then she said that there's going to be no closing dance number and no singing or dancing while she's around. And then, of course, they do the "We Will Rock You" to get the audience pumped up for the show, and then the actual show begins. Your thoughts on that we got introduced to the villain before the show actual began, because during the show is when you usually meet the villain.
I'm surprised they changed it up this year. Usually the villain doesn't come out until like Bill and Ted come in the phone booth. But I'm surprised they did the villain already. Maybe they want you to get pumped up for the show.
Right.
With the villain right there.
I mean, maybe at this point, I do not know.
What's your thoughts, James, on that?
Honestly, I do not know. I don't know why they did it that way, but that's the way they did the show every single night. So then they do the normal opening of the show where the booth comes on stage, the guys come out and they introduce themselves and they make a joke that they are in 3D, but the opening segment was pre-recorded and it was on one of the screens, and then the screen comes up and then the actors are on stage. They make a reference to 3D because back in 2010, 3D movies were all the rave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So your thoughts on that, Mom?
I liked how they referenced the 3D movies.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't see 3D movies anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was a good scene. Your thoughts, James, on that?
They did too. And they have these bags that they were out trick-or-treating. So, of course, it's Bill that pulls out... No, it's Ted that pulls out Old Spice deodorant.
I remember that.
So they do a reference to Terry Crews that used to be the mascot for Old Spice and did all their commercials back in the day. They make a reference that Terry says, "Now look at me, look at your man, then look back to me, I'm on a horse."
There was no horse on this show.
No, but that was just the joke that they made.
Yeah.
So.
True.
So yeah. So then they make fun of Lady Gaga when Bill pulls out steak sauce. And Lady Gaga comes out in a costume made out of meat. And she says she has porterhouse, all these different things. She has a penis. I don't really get the reference of the steak sauce. I got lost on that one too.
Me too. I just why would they do the steak sauce? Weird.
Right.
Weird.
Then they do a reference to Prince of Persia, the movie that starred Jake Gyllenhaal, and this was based off a video game before they made the movie. So basically, Jake Gyllenhaal says that in 20 minutes there's going to be a bomb that goes off, and basically Bill and Ted sent him to the future to do a pre-recording for Bill and Ted in the present, and they start recording the video, and as they're about to say who the villain is, the cell phone cuts out because they make fun of AT&T that had the worst service. And this was true back in 2010, but then it got a lot better. So they did a reference to AT&T. So then they're trying to figure out who it is so they can stop it from happening. Then you meet the other villain, who is the movie producer. Your thoughts on that?
Okay, we have a villain with the coach.
Or principal of the Glee.
Principal of the school.
Glee.
From Glee, and now we have another villain.
Mm-hmm.
They never did two villains in the show before.
Mm-hmm.
They just want to change it up. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But that's interesting.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Now we're getting to the plot of things.
Yeah. But he doesn't have a name. So it's a nameless movie producer as a villain. We don't know why they did that. And he says he just bought the rights to the Bill and Ted show and he's not going to include them. And he makes a joke like they don't have any rights, just like Arizona.
What's the reference to Arizona? That's what I don't get.
I did not know. Maybe someone in the comments or can let me know in 2010 why Arizona didn't have any rights. I would be interested in that, but I didn't get the reference. So then we know, then those are the two villains of the show. So then he says, Bill, meet your replacement for the new Bill and Ted show. And of course it is
Justin Bieber. They make another reference to Justin Bieber.
Mm-hmm. Ted makes fun that he looks like a girl, and Justin says to Ted, who are you calling a bitch? Mm-hmm. So then the producer says to Ted, meet your replacements, and it's Mike and Snooki from New Jersey Shore. Which I honestly admit that I watched the first 2 seasons of Jersey Shore, and then I never watched it again. So
it wasn't good?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. So then, I think this is like the best joke that Ted said in the show. So let me get this straight, that you are replacing us with a little girl, a Guido, and a Smurf. then the producer says, yeah, that's about right. Oh, God.
Justin Bieber, a Smurf, and
a Guido. So Mike from New Jersey is supposed to be the Guido because he's supposed to be like from New Jersey, and Snooki is too.
And then Justin Bieber, like
it looks like a little girl.
Interesting so far.
Yeah. So then he says catchphrases are so 80s. So then they pretend to do a commercial and they make a joke when Jesse James, I don't know who Jesse James is talking about the shake wake. It was something to make you like shake your muscles. I
don't know what that is. I heard about it,
but I don't know. I don't know. Then they also make a reference to Angelina Jolie and Gwyneth Paltrow when they use that machine to get in shape when Angelina Jolie played Salt in the movie Salt, and then Gwyneth Paltrow playing Pepper in the Iron Man 1 and 2. Then they argue back and forth for a little bit, and then they have a cat fight, and then they pretend to do something else with each other, where the producer is taking photos of them, and they're in lingerie. So you guys can probably figure out what they were doing. So there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Either am I, James. No.
And he says, well, I'm definitely going to share this with Brad Pitt on his wall. That's what the producer says. It's a reference. And he's like, Justin, Mike, Snooki, in my office now. And then, of course, they go off stage. So yeah. So then Bill and Ted said we're going to need some help. Then they make a reference to Iron Man where he is drunk and Black Widow is with him. From Iron Man 2. And then
Iron Man drunk.
Yeah.
Okay.
Iron Man drunk. I cannot make this stuff up. This is literally what the show is, guys. So, it just gets crazier from here. So, and then Whiplash is in a wheelchair and he pretends to have whiplash. That's supposed to be the joke.
Oh,
then they make a reference to MacGyver. That was basically a TV show back in the day. Then they made a couple of movies, and they were referencing the latest movie from 2010. That went straight off my head.
I don't know what movie they're talking about in 2010.
Yeah. Then they make a reference to Resident Evil with Alice, the main character from the films, not the video games. And I got that reference because I've seen every single Resident Evil movie, and I know you have too.
I have.
So we got that reference.
We got it straight away.
Straight away.
Mm-hmm.
So far this show is just your thoughts so far before I continue.
Weird but interesting.
Yeah, I'm just
Don't get some of the references, but weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, weird.
So far.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then they make a reference to Lindsay Lohan when she was in jail. And Alice thinks that she's a zombie and they have a cat fight. And then Lizzie kisses Alice and she thinks she has been infected by a zombie, but it's really low end. So then, of course, they have to make a reference to to Inception, that dream movie starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
I've never seen the movie, but I heard it was good.
I saw it. So Bill says, "Are we dreaming?" And the movie producer comes back, says, "No, and we can't say dreaming, and we can't even talk about the movie Inception." And he said, "Shit, call my lawyer, and you guys are all fired." So, of course, during the middle of the show, usually they have a big fight where everyone's running around fighting each other. And then, of course, the coach from Glee and Alice are fighting, and other different people are fighting. And then the fighting stops because Justin goes on a platform and he says, "I'm high on cereal and I will slap a bitch." And then they start doing a small dance number halfway through the show. Really didn't get the reference. And then Alice's gun goes off and the bullet pretends to go everywhere and kills Justin Bieber. Everyone starts fighting again. They all go off stage. And then the coach or principal from Glee, who is the main villain, pretends to drag Justin Bieber's backstage. And I don't want to imagine what she's pretending to do with Justin Bieber right now. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, there you go. So then the phone rings in the booth and Bill and Ted do not want to answer it. So they do rock, paper, scissors, and Ted loses. He answers the phone and it's jail, and they make a reference to Mel Gibson being in jail.
Yeah.
So there you
in
go.
real life, he was in jail. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then some cheerleaders bring out a trophy, and there's a note on it from the principal/coach from Glee to Bill and Ted, saying that you are the most stupidest teens I have ever met, and I'm going to give this show the bomb it needs. So
like a real bomb, they're going to blow up the show.
Well,
pretend bomb.
Pretend bomb, not a real bomb.
Yeah, I meant to say pretend bomb.
Yeah,
sorry.
But there you go.
Mm-hmm.
So then they make a reference to Alice in Wonderland from the 2010 movie with the Mad Hatter.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mad Hatter is high on drugs. He's doing all these sexual references, which I'm not going to repeat on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And Ted says he's acting like a pervert, and then they do some reference that went viral on Twitter or TikTok or one of the social media sites where a guy is saying about someone that's being a pervert and they're going to find them and stuff like that. Don't really get the reference, but that's what they did. So right now, we're about halfway through the show right now. So this is about the halfway point of the show. Then they make a reference to the A team, but in the show they call them the B team.
Okay, it's supposed to be the A team because I saw that show. Now they call it the B team. That doesn't make sense.
That's literally what they
doesn't make sense. Nope.
Oh yeah. So there you go. So. Oh, man. Okay. So Mr. T comes out and Ted says, "Oh, you guys are here to save us." And he said, "No, I just pulled over because I want to kill myself." And they asked why. Because I can't take this fool anymore. And some guy dressed as Tom Cruise, Jerry Maguire, comes out and starts doing a whole talking bit. So then Ted says do you have anything else in that van that's not ADSD? And an avatar comes out from Avatar the Last Airbender, not the blue avatar, and they make a reference to that. And he does a whole battle with Mike and Snooki from New Jersey Shore.
Lovely.
So, and then they all get back in the van and drive off. Oh boy. So, I enjoy these movies, and I've read the books because I want to thank my mom, Marcia, for getting me into this. So in 2009, they did a Twilight reference throughout the show. So, of course, they had to do Poke and do another Twilight reference in this show.
They did.
So they do another Twilight sequence where Bella is trying to choose between Team Jacob and Team Edward. Edward has a dog collar on Jacob has a dog collar on him, and Edward shots him. And he says, "Look at me, Bella." He breaks the dog tower, pretends to show up his body. Then Edward says, "No, Bella, look at me." And they do the scene where he's sparkling in the sun. And then Bella says, "No, look at me." And she pretends to rip her shirt off. And they said, "We know what you came for," to the audience. They do a little dance showing themselves off. And then Bella says, "I make my decision." Jacob goes up to her and says, "Finally, it's not you." And then Edward says, he shows me, and she says, "It's not you either." And Edward says, "What, bitch?" And then she chooses the vampire from Sesame Street. And he says, "Today's lesson is brought to you by the letters F and U." And that's and that is the, I'm not going to say any further, because if people know what I'm talking about, you know what FU stands for.
I know what it stands for.
But I'm saying for the people that are listening that don't understand it, I'm not going to go any further on that.
That was a good scene. I really like that. Because in the movie, she cannot decide who to go for.
Right.
So I remember that scene in the movie. And that was a good scene in the show.
Yeah, but there was a little twist that was poking the bear of the Twilight fans. So the producer comes out and says, "You understand your fate now. By tomorrow, Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure will..." And then he is interrupted by the principal or coach from Glee and says, "It's over." The producer says, "No, you said I had time to buy it and fix it." But so the principal or coach from Glee says, "There's no fixing it." And she was using him all along as well. So you think he's a victim, you think he's a villain, but no, she was just using him as well.
As a victim to try to...
No. Was tricking him, so... Yeah. And then and then she says, "This is the worst show ever that happens in LA besides the Kardashians." Yeah, so I'm not gonna go any further.
I get the reference.
And most people, I think, will get the reference too.
Mm-hmm.
So then Ted asks, "Do you guys know each other?" And they both say yes. And she says, "I knew you guys were not going to finish the show without singing or dancing, so I planted that bomb." And it's in the trophy on stage, and Ted Bill and Ted say, "Oh man, the trophy." And she says, "Well, I would love to stay and chat, but I rather watch you all die." And she starts the timer on the bomb, but the Prince of Persia comes back and stops the timer at 69 seconds. There's a reference to that because he wants to, and he also stops time, and everyone on stage pretends to be frozen. So he gets his revenge on Bill and Ted by pretending to make fun of them, and then slaps them in the face and punches them in the gut, then unfreezes them. So he says, "I'm going to go home now," because he's mad at Bill and Ted. And Bill and Ted say, "We're really sorry for making those jokes." So he decides to help them at the end after all.
Right.
So he says that, "I'm going to send you guys back 20 seconds before she hits the bomb trigger so they can all fix it." And then everyone on stage pretends to go rewind like you're rewinding a VCR tape. And then the producer comes out and says, "Do you know your fate?" And he says, "Oh, when did you get here, Jake Gyllenhaal?" Then they said, "Okay, who's going to help us?" And they do a reference to Kick Ass with Hit Girl from the movie.
Right.
So then Bill says to Hit Girl that a principal or a coach is about to come here and blow up this place sky high. And they pretend their fight, and at the end, the coach or principal gets blown up, and the Hit Girl says, "Anytime you need my help, just signal my cock," and it's in a sign of a rooster. And she says, "I would love to stay and chat, but I gotta get going, bitches. I gotta get my seat for the Miley Cyrus concert." And this is gonna be a reference to one of the closing dance numbers.
Mm-hmm.
So now the principal is defeated. Our coach from Glee, she's dead. Everything's back to normal. And so the producer says he feels really bad, but he's not apologizing to Bill and Ted. He wants to make it up to them. So he says, "Hey guys, I just signed some new clients. Do you want to meet them?" And they said, "Sure." And the producer says, "Lil Jon, are you ready?" And Lil Jon says, "I'm ready." And the producer says, "Hit him with a remix." And Bill and Ted say, "Excellent." So Lil Jon comes up on stage and says, "Are you ready?" Miley Cyrus, Lil Jon, and then Miley Cyrus comes out on stage, and that begins the opening dance number.
I mean the closing dance number.
I meant to say the closing dance number. So, first song is by Lil Jon and Miley Cyrus. I don't recognize the song. I tried looking it up. Didn't recognize it. Then they go on to a second song that's led by Bill and Ted. Don't recognize that song. Third song they do is California Girl by Katy Perry. That was a very popular song back in 2010. Fourth song I don't recognize. Fifth song I don't recognize. Sixth song I do recognize because it was a very popular song back in 2010. It was by Usher and it was called "Oh My God." So after that song, you think the show would end there. But of course, they have one more song that they surprise the audience. It was done by Lady Gaga, and it featured Beyonce in the show, or in the song. It was a very popular one back in 2010. They did that whole dance number, and then the show was over. And of course, they end the show like they do every single year. Bill and Ted say be excellent to each other and Party On Dude. And the cast does their dance. They go off stage. Bill and Ted go into the phone booth. They go backstage. And as you are exiting the theater, they play the song Underclass Hero by Sum 41. And that is the end of the show. So that was the Bill and Ted show for 2010. Your thoughts on that, Mom?
I really liked the show. It was funny. It was comedy. It was singing, dancing, all in one. I really, really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, years passed, but so, as I can remember, this was the best one so far. So I really liked it.
Yeah, so this was the third Bill and Ted show that I saw, because I saw the 2008 one, then I saw the 2009 one, and then the 2010 one. You did see the 2008 one only that one night, and then you saw it more in 2009, and you also saw it more in 2010.
Right.
So, yeah, so that is the show, and you can find the show online on YouTube. So that is the Bill and Ted show for Halloween Horror Nights 2010 Hollywood. So, pretty much that is going to wrap up our Halloween Horror Nights 2010 history videos / podcast. So, I wanted to let people know. So, today is Tuesday, July 23rd, 2014. Or 2024, not 2014. This video / podcast was supposed to come out
a week ago?
No, today.
Oh, okay.
No, yesterday. It was supposed to come out yesterday, that's right. It was supposed to come out on Monday, July 22nd. But if you guys followed me on my social media sites, I was running around getting stuff ready for Midsummer Scream. So today, Tuesday, July 23rd, is when this video / podcast is coming out. So tomorrow, Wednesday, July 24th, is when the beginning guide for Midsummer Scream 2024 is going to be coming out. And then on Thursday, July 25th, the day before we are going to leave for Midsummer Scream on Friday, that's when everything that we are going to be doing at Midsummer Scream, all the videos that we're going to be filming, that video / podcast will be coming out on that day. And then those will be all the videos leading up to Midsummer Scream. And then when I get back, all the videos that I shot at Midsummer Scream and also at the hotel that we're staying at, all those videos will be coming out that following week. And I will let you guys know when those videos are going to be coming out, because it's going to be a lot of footage that I have to edit together and stuff like that. So it's going to take a little while. So probably sometime in the middle of next week is when those videos will start coming out. And I will let you guys know when they're out on my social media sites or when they're going to be posted. So, I just wanted to get that out of the way so you guys know. Sorry about the delay. A lot of things to get prepped and ready for going this weekend for Midsummer Scream. So, I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you for everyone that is listening. Thank you for everyone that's been watching my videos and listening to my podcasts and stuff. So, Mom, any final thoughts before we wrap up this video / podcast?
Really good show for the Bill and Ted this year. And I cannot wait for Midsummer Scream.
Yep. So everything is going to be good. And I will see you guys tomorrow, Wednesday, July 24th, for the beginning guides for Midsummer Scream. Anyone that's going to Midsummer Scream the first time, this is going to be my guide, because I've gone to the convention multiple times, talk about the best way that you could get for the convention and all that stuff, all my tips and stuff. That video / podcast will be coming out tomorrow, Wednesday, July 24th. And then on Thursday, July 25th is when I'm going to be doing a video / podcast talking about everything that Marcia and I are going to be doing, what stuff we are going to be filming, all that stuff, so you guys are aware of what stuff you will be seeing next week when it comes out on YouTube and podcasts from Midsummer Scream. So I just wanted to break that down for you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I want to thank my co-host Marcia for joining me again for this podcast / video.
You're welcome, James.
And if you want to follow my co-host, my mom Marcia, on her social media sites, they are listed down below. She has @AK Twitter and Instagram, which she's going to be posting a lot of stuff when we're at Midsummer Scream. And you can follow me on all my social media sites, on my Facebook page, my X / Twitter account, my Instagram, and my newest social media site, which is TikTok. So I'll be posting a lot of photos and stuff from Midsummer Scream as well. Just giving you some clips of what you could be seeing. So there you go. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank everyone for listening. My name is James. I was your host, and we'll see you guys for the next 2 videos coming out on Wednesday and Thursday, and then Midsummer Scream. And next week, videos are going to be all Midsummer Scream and the hotel that we stayed at. So once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and we'll catch you for the next video / podcast tomorrow, Wednesday, July 24th, 2024.